It's the small things in Deadman that make a huge difference, and knowing these little tips and tricks can be the difference between being the first to get the best gear and sigils, or struggling to get any gear without running into PK after PK. Try to do this in the order that you're going to use them. So starting out, you can skip the whole of Tutorial Island by simply talking to Skippy right at the start, and he'll also teleport you to one of the following locations: Lumbridge, Varrock, Falador, East Ardy, or the Gnome Stronghold. After you've chose your location, you'll have the usual Tutorial Island supplies in your inventory, but also a starter pack, which includes the choice of combat sigils. But these can only be activated in a safe zone, so be sure to do that before you leave the starter area that you choose, as these are incredibly powerful, especially at the start. Since we all start from scratch, there's nothing in the game and of course nothing on the GE, making the 10,000 GP that you can get just for completing the Stronghold of Security absolutely huge, since shops are the only place you can get things early on. There's a little bit of food in your starter pack, so you can go straight there, plus there's going to be so many players doing it, it's so populated, you're not even likely to get hit by anything. Strategy and time is key at the start of Deadman, and a good plan will give you a huge advantage over others. That usually includes quests if you plan to go to a higher bracket, as these are typically the fastest way to level up, since the XP multiplier that we get, which starts at 10 times the normal XP, also include quest rewards. I will be doing another video on the best possible starting strategy, but just for example, doing the Tree Gnome Village, Grand Tree, Waterfall and Fight Arena takes just over an hour and usually propels you straight into bracket 3. Completing the Tree Gnome Village quest also gives you access to the spirit trees that travel around Gillinor, which is massive early on because you can't use minigame teleports in Deadman and there isn't even teleport jewelry for a while. A few other helpful teleports that you can get are using Nigel in the Lumbridge Graveyard, who will give you one free teleport per day to the same locations that Skippy gives you. Also, using the Edgeville teleport lever twice will take you over to Ardy. And of course, you could use charter ships to get around, but at the start when we don't have much money, they are extremely expensive. So a couple of ships that can get you around for just 30 GP is the one from Port Sarim over to Moosa Point, and you can move between 3 areas, which is Rimington, Brimhaven and Ardy, for just 30 GP too. If you progress quickly in Deadman, getting PK becomes less of a problem, because it's impossible for someone to level up just as fast as you, as well as making the money, getting the supplies and weapons and so on to actually start killing people. Things are extremely expensive at the start relative to the money we have. Dragon Bones are typically 3,000 to 5,000 each. The first power amulets will probably be about 50,000 GP too, and even basic food is quite expensive, as everyone needs it but no one's actually farming it. For that reason, try to plan to be self-sufficient. Almost everything on the G for the first day will be massively overpriced, that's if it's even on the G at all. You can scrape by from shops, the stock replenishes much faster than usual, so there is enough for everyone. Plus you can get a bone crossbow and bolts from Lowe's archery shop in Varrock, and some leather just north of and by the anvils. For magic, you can get a basic staff from Zaf in Varrock. We have access to runes in the Varrock rune shop. The Wilderness Mage Arena Bank, you can get higher level runes like Law, Death, Nature and Cosmic. Plus Betty's rune shop in Port Sarim has a very basic wizard's hat. It's not the best, but it's very cheap and it gives you +2 magic. The Amulet of Magic will be on the G usually after about an hour, but again, it will be very expensive. For melee, your starter sword is the equivalent of a Mithril Scimitar, but you can equip it at any level. You can also get a Rune Scimitar from the Zamorak Warriors, which is a 1 in 50 drop. They're very easy to kill with magic and can be safe spotted, but it is a very highly populated area with a lot of competition. You can then get plate legs and plate skirts up to Adi and Alcarid, plate bodies up to Mithril and Varrock, and a helm at the Barbarian Village which goes up to Adi. This year, Chivalry will be automatically unlocked too once you've got the prayer level. Also, when you reach bracket 2, a lot of the recipe for disaster mini quests will be automatically completed, so you can get gloves from the chest in the Lumbridge basement up to, I think it's Addy, possibly Rune, looking at the quests that they give us, which is a great all-round item. I'm going to be doing a few videos on how to make money in Deadman, but having at least one good money maker is really important. People overprice everything, and without it, you'll likely have to run across half of Gillinor every time you need a new item that could have just been bought in the GE for 10k. Sure, it's a complete rip-off, but it's just well worth paying for the time saved and the fact that you don't have to go into a PvP zone to get it. The site getracker.com also has a Deadman mode feature during a tournament, which you access by sliding a bar at the top left. This is amazing for knowing the exact price that items are selling for, because the GE is very rarely accurate when it comes to the price in Deadman. I'll put a link below to that site so you can access it whenever you want. Next, don't just use your safety deposit box to store your best items. I also use mine as like a reserve cash pot. No matter how good you are or how careful you are, death is always a possibility in Deadman. So only keep what you need in your bank and sell the rest, then invest that money in something worth a good amount that's quite stable in price. Whenever I get a decent drop or have been on a trip where I've made a bit of money, I usually sell everything and then buy a few dragon items and put them in a deposit box. That way, if I die, I can just take 1 or 2 out, sell them on the G, and then quickly buy another set of Black D Hard, Rune Crossbow and Glory, or whatever I'm using, and then go straight back to what I was doing. Doing that method means deaths are just a small inconvenience. There's a delay when logging out in Deadman, and a delay when teleporting if you're in combat. But if you're safe spotting something, meaning it can't hit you back, you're not classed as being in combat, so you can instantly teleport and it'll save you getting into a lot of fights that you don't want to. There's a few decent combat training areas and safe zones too. You can kill the guards in Varric, the Terrorbirds in the Gnome Stronghold, but by far the best is the Warriors Guild, which is a safe zone in Deadman Armageddon, although that was a recent change and it's not a safe zone in World 345. If you're a PKer, teleport locations can be one of the greatest places to catch players far away from a bank. For everyone else though, anytime you have to teleport to a PvP area, use the RuneLite plugin called Player Indicators and make sure Player Indicator for other players is enabled. Have your mouse ready over a teleport, and if you see a red nameplate on your minimap as you teleport in, instantly teleport away. Alternatively, take a different route to a location. I would personally rather run from Falador to the Warriors Guild pretty much risk-free than use the game's necklace knowing a PK will almost certainly be there. Also, be very careful in safe zones, as things like rooftop agility courses are not actually safe areas even though they are within a safe zone. In fact, anytime you go up or down a level within a safe zone, check this icon here just to make sure that it is still classed as safe. Doing quests can give you access to areas that most players don't, which can be a great method for farming supplies or training in peace until you're ready to fight yourself. This is a map where everything in green can only be either accessed by completing quests or until you reach the bracket number that I've put on each green area, where it will then be open to everyone, or at least everyone that chooses one of the quest chains. This map also doesn't include a few things like underground and unusual locations such as Xanaris and Dorgish Khan. Sigils are absolutely massive, and I found last time that people didn't realise how good some of them were for at least a few days. So if you can work out the best ones early in advance and snag them on the GE, you can often get them a lot cheaper. There's too many of these to go through on one video, but I'll be doing another with all the best combinations soon. If you plan to go bossing in Deadman, focus on the ones that drop good PvP gear, as PBM gear is generally worth very little. For example, the Chambers of Xeric is far better money than the Tombs of Amaska in this game mode. Any raid though is a hotspot for PKs, and there's usually a max one at the entrance to all of them once players have had the time to gear up. Other hotspots include almost every Slayer task location, teleport spots as I mentioned earlier, the Agility Pyramid, common quest areas apart from the first few hours usually have PKs, the best skilling locations, barrows, and the usual wilderness hotspots. AFK training in Deadman is quite difficult. You can still obviously splash in a safe zone for mage training, but to train range and melee you can't simply go to rock crabs anymore, as eventually a PK is just going to show up. So a couple of tricks that I did last time was to complete the Depths of Despair quest, which means you can access the Crabclaw Caves here, and there's more rock crabs but generally not many PKs. The other place I went to was Swamp Crabs. When I did the Mauritania quest chain to access Firewatch, I only seen one other player in 2 days in the whole area. It was completely dead. So while Swamp Crabs here do have slightly higher stats, they've still got very low defense, so you still get a lot of XP. I've probably missed a few, but those are the main things that I can think of that'll help you at the start of Deadman, but please post any tips that you've got yourself, and in the next video I'll be going through the sigil combinations that are going to be huge for Deadman Armageddon.